Well, as peace breaks out at Parliament, there is no filibuster debate. The Maori Party, well, I'm sure they're so happy they'll be able to attend the budget debate. And we start to pursue here at the platform and ask questions about this policy called Rautaki, a story we were alerted to as part of the disclosure in an employment dispute between our TVNZ employer and Television New Zealand itself. Disclosures which suggest that, and in fact confirmed and not denied by TVNZ, that they have a policy called Rautaki Māori, which allows them to exercise ethnic preference towards Māori when hiring staff. In the last couple of days, having raised this, I've found that Rautaki is applied across many government departments and indeed in the private sector as well. To look at that issue and also the disciplining or non-disciplining of the Maori Party, we are joined now from Hobson's Pledge by Don Brash, who might also have a thing or two to say about what might be in the budget. Don, nice to have you with us again. Welcome.
Good morning, Sean. Good to be here.
All right. Look, firstly, that was a deft little parliamentary sidestep by Chris Bishop yesterday to stop what would have been a complete waste of time filibuster, wasn't it?
It certainly was. I was surprised. I was watching it and astonished when Chris Bishop leapt to his feet and called it off. Yeah.
Okay, but it does stop it being a grandstanding moment for the Maori Party and its allies.
That's true. That's true.
Don, I was particularly concerned yesterday, though opinion was split amongst our audience. I thought that Jerry Brownlee closing the public gallery yesterday because of fears of disruption was a white flag to those who do not respect our system of government, and it was basically denying people who would like to have gone to the public gallery yesterday and watch our democracy in action. They were denied that right, I think, because of the temerity of the Speaker.
Yes, well, I don't envy the job of the Speaker, I must say, Sean. Jerry, I know very well indeed. He was my deputy leader when I was leader of the National Party. He's a fine person, and being Speaker in that kind of environment must be very tough indeed. So I don't envy him that job. He's attacked no matter what he does.
Okay, do you think the public gallery should be closed because radicals, Maori or otherwise, threaten to disrupt or do bad things in the gallery, or do you think we need to throw some more money at security?
Well, one or the other, certainly, because what happened, you recall, when the haka took place some time ago, was quite unacceptable. So he either got to pay for more security or close the gallery. That was his choice.
All right.
I don't have a strong view on that.
Okay, all right. You do not have a strong view. You do not have a strong view on people being able to watch their democracy. That's amazing, Don.
I can watch it perfectly well, actually. I watched it myself, but
on
not,
TV.
frankly, in the gallery.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. It would appear to the Prime Minister came out yesterday and said he stands by the punishment that has been brought down. And I get the feeling that that is not going to change, that the coalition actually has made its mind up on this. And despite, according to Chris Hipkins, democracy hanging by a thread, it looks like they will go down for that period of time, doesn't it?
It does look like that. And I mean, I don't have a strong view on that length of time either, frankly. But what their behavior in the House at the time of the haka and the behavior of the Te Pāti Māori since that time has really been unconscionable in my view. They clearly despise Parliament and despise what Parliament stands for. So I'm not surprised the Privileges Committee said we really ought to punish them quite substantially.
I want to move on now to this thing, Rautaki Māori. Kamal Santamaria, when he was Me Too'd out of television, knew three years ago, and he's still got an employment case with them. He sought discovery of a number of documents and internal documents from TVNZ, and they revealed the existence of a policy called Rautaki Māori. And when Mr. Santamaria, as a New Zealander of Indian ethnicity, got appointed to the job, someone, and it's been redacted, wrote to someone else and said, How can this be in keeping with our Rautaki Māori strategy? Couldn't we find a super Māori to take that role? Now, we look at the racial balance of people in senior positions in TVNZ, and my understanding from talking to people is there is a Māori first hiring policy there. It's called Rautaki Māori. It's why Jessica Mackay left the gallery and Mikey Sherman became the political editor. It's why a netballer with a facial tattoo runs their breakfast show. And when I raised this issue Monday on air, Don, I was suddenly getting information from people all through government departments and some private sector firms and statutory agencies that they have Rautaki Māori, and it means that honouring of the treaty and recognition of tikanga Māori must be extended to all areas of the organisation, including recruitment. And that's a very important thing, including recruitment. So we literally have an official policy now of ethnic weighting for jobs in a whole lot of government areas. Does that concern you?
Oh, I think it's absolutely appalling, Sean. And what astounds me is that this is true despite the fact we've had a national right-leaning government for the last 18 months. I mean, all three of the parties in government currently campaigned on equal rights for everybody, ACT and New Zealand First particularly strongly, but even National also. And to have these policies still existing, despite that fact, is astonishing and appalling.
Okay. It seems to me also, while everyone's been talking about the Treaty Principles Bill or the, getting references to the treaty out of legislation, the real practical problem about stopping racism and apartheid in our country is that you have to find the policies like Rautaki and send a clear message that they are to go, they are to be erased immediately. You don't need legislation for that. We approached the Minister of Broadcasting about this, Paul Goldsmith. He said it was an operational matter. Does that wash with you?
Not at all. I'm dismayed by that. I must say, I know Paul Goldsmith very well. It was a personal friend years ago, but it appalls me that he would take that way out. I mean, what is the government about? It claimed to be about equal citizenship. And what they've got are these policies, apparently, as you say, right through the public sector.
Yeah, Rautaki, it's called Rautaki Māori. It is everywhere. And I never realised until I read a reference to it in some coverage of an employment dispute. Well, what should the government do now? What can members of your organisation do now? Because this is a very practical, coalface issue, the Rautaki Māori policy. How do you get it changed?
All we can do, only thing we can do is make the public aware of these policies and campaign on them as strongly as we can. There's so much of this stuff going on in the public sector. I mean, the Janet Dixon case, you've been on the Janet Dixon case yourself. We've discovered that similar kinds of rules apply to all kinds of other statutory and semi-statutory bodies, obliging people to take various kinds of cultural indoctrination in order to maintain their practicing certificate. I mean, it's pharmacists and all kinds of people are caught by this issue. It's an appalling situation, as I say, 18 months into a current centre-right government.
Yeah, and that's what I also wanted to ask you. You would have thought about after 18 months, if this government was genuine about wanting to change these things, it would have made more progress than it has. It would have found Rautaki Māori itself.
Yep, that's right. Well, they've done some changes. I think they made some changes, for example, the medical school, where the idea that you got a preference for access to medical school if you had some Maori ancestry. The paradox, Sean, is that it actually is not good for the people concerned. If you're Maori and appointed, are you appointed because you're Maori or because you're good? Yeah. I mean, I first became aware of this issue living in the United States, where Afro-Americans were appointed because they were black. They weren't quite sure if they were actually adequate to the job. the white Americans who were passed over for the job resented it, and it created racial resentment on the part of white Americans and insecurity on the part of black Americans in many cases. They didn't know whether they were appointed on merit or appointed because they were black. And that's a disaster for them.